All right. Yeah. Oh, wait. Yeah, okay. Anyway, hello. SolarLune here. Hi, I'm an independent game developer. I'm the creator of Master Plan. I'm the creator of Tetra 3D. I'm the creator of this game I'm working on. So how's that? How's that for a welcome or a hello? Sorry for being late to the stream. I just was late. I apologize. That's just it. But yeah, it'll be a lot of fun to see what we can do. Okay, so last time we left off, I was working on Master Plan, and I released a new version. So if you have Master Plan on Steam or itch, you can update it, and you'll have Alpha 5 now, which is cool. So the things I was working on are now available for usage, which is very nice. I guess actually I'll show just in case nobody knows what I'm working on. But yeah. Basically the big new feature, I guess you could say, is the link card, which is the ability to, and you can resize this, the link card, which is the ability to link to another card in your project, or link to a file or program on your computer and run it from Master Plan. So in this case, pressing run will open MegaZooks on my computer, and you can see this is the path as well as the arguments, or you can press browse and browse for the file, but you click run, and then here's MegaZooks, and you can, we can play. So you can use this to link to any program. It doesn't have to be, anything. It could be any program on your computer, of course. Yeah. So that's cool. So that's a new feature. Also, the ability to make the window transparent, which is very nice, very useful. As you can see, it never goes fully transparent, so you can always see the window. You can always identify it or find it if you have trouble doing so. Yeah, and then you have never if you just don't want to have it be transparent at all, or maybe transparent only when the window is when the mouse is outside of the window, or when the window is inactive, which is cool. Nice features. All right, so yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So there's someone pointed out that there's a bug where I guess we'll fix that right now that I think about it. We will find this is what we're looking for. This. So basically the color of the link contents card is not able to be customized because I forgot to implement it. I just completely forgot to test that. But yeah, you can't change the color, so let's fix that real quick. Yeah. So we'll just do this. There we go. Cool. So that works. Very nice. All right. Let's commit this before I forget. Very nice. As for Tetra 3D, I've been thinking about how to optimize the rendering process for Tetra 3D to run faster, and I haven't come up with anything. Because basically, I believe the issue that we're running into, or the reason why it's running slowly, let me get a drink of water here. Need that water. Oh, I forgot, actually. I have to do something. Well, dang. All right, I'll be right back. Hold on. Just hold on. Okay, there we go. All right. Sorry about that. I had to do something real quick. Now I'm good to go. Should be. All right. Let's get some music. But yes, I'm trying to figure out how I can make Tetra 3D run a little bit faster. That's really loud. For me, it was really loud. And I'm not sure quite how to do so, because fundamentally the way that this works is we have to render something to an intermediate texture, and then from that texture we render to the resulting texture, the final texture. And so we do that for both depth and color, because you have to have depth, right? I mean, I guess we don't have to have depth. So I guess that's true. We don't have to have depth, so we could just skip it and then just try rendering directly to the color texture. And then just like make sure that basically our objects don't intersect, which honestly may be fine because our objects don't intersect. Like, we don't need actual depth testing as long as the objects don't intersect. Like I think the PlayStation 1 didn't have a depth texture, so I think that we could probably get away with just not having a depth texture here. That way we could cut down on like 5 orders of render calls. Like, we don't need to render well, let me think, hold on. Well, before we do that, let me see if I can properly get a bead on how long things take, because I think that's part of the problem. Well, not part of the problem, but a problem that I have is that it's not clear where the time is going. Because if we run the game, let me move this over to my other screen. Start a new window, put it here. There you go. Did I not? There we go. Wait. Okay, I guess it's running. Okay. Yeah, so if we look at the frame time, like, we're not looking at, it's not looking too bad, but then if we look from this angle, it drops considerably, but our frame time is still like low. Like, it's 4, 5, 7 milliseconds. That should definitely be 60 FPS. Carl Otto says, streaming again. Yes, indeed. Hello. Sorry for the late start again. But yeah, like, we're, doing 50 draw calls, which is kind of a lot, I suppose, in this scene. Yeah, it's kind of a lot. Let's see. Are these fences? These fences are individual. Maybe that's part of it. I think the trees are merged. I think these are merged, right? Yeah. So it's probably, it might be the fences because these are merged. Yeah. It'd be cool if I could jump to this easily. Tag merge. Okay. All right. So we'll try merging these fences. Let's see. Zyko says, are there triangles you can merge to issue a single draw triangles call somewhere, or are these calls all interdependent with textures? I'm not sure quite what you mean, but basically all of the, like, this is a single draw call. So then when we go back to, I can always go to the wrong scene. Like this is a single draw call, this is a single draw call, because these are all individual objects. Each of these fence objects. So we want to combine them together so that it's a single mesh, I believe, because that would be more performant than rendering, you know, switching between objects constantly. Yeah, it should be more performant. I was thinking of something, but that's not true. All right, so this will be asset. Go back over here. That can be fine. There, that's fine. But these can be destroyed. Weird. I thought for sure you'd add a. Maybe just different colors each draw call. That's true. Let's see. That's true. And that might help us out because that way we could see what's going on a little bit easier. Okay, so something like this. Move that there. Move these guys over here. Move this down. Move it down. All right. So something like that. This is different from this. Okay. We still need to make another house. All right. So this is a start. I think these are all, yeah. So overall, there shouldn't be that many objects here. Zyko says, I thought versus taking the same texture and parameters could be detected and merged into a single vertex slice. Versus taking the same texture and parameters. Oh, texture in parameters. Oh, I think I see what you mean. Yeah, that's how I'm. That's what I'm doing, if I understand you correctly. Like I'm making it so that each of these objects that all are the same in terms of, you know, they're all fences. I'm making them all instances of a single object. This fence, which has a property on it, which I forgot to add actually. Static merge, bonk. Which will set, or the engine will basically merge all of them together into a single mesh, so that it's not constantly switching between stuff to render. So previously, I think it was like 50 draw calls. Was it 50? It's definitely better. It's closer to 100 now. Yeah, 100 FPS. That's good. It used to be like sub 60. It's still sub 60 or sub. It's still low in this area. I'm not sure why. There's nothing. It might be the clip rendering, clip alpha, because clip alpha objects have to be composited multiple times. So if we could avoid using a depth texture here, that might give us a better result. So maybe, and I mean, that makes sense because we want to limit the amount that we are compositing as much as possible. So if we're not rendering depth, then we save on rendering the entire scene multiple times. Well, we save on rendering the entire scene for the depth texture, and then we save on compositing the depth intermediates, you know, all of that. And then on top of that, we don't have to composite with a color intermediate because there's no depth intersection. So we can draw directly on the resulting color texture. So we're saving, like, it might be drastically faster to avoid the depth intersection. So maybe we can just not have it. The thing, I think the PS1 didn't have a depth texture, but I feel like it might have had intersection on a per triangle basis. Like a triangle could be in front of a triangle, even for different objects, or some sort of triangle sorting algorithm. In my Zyko says 2 trees, for example, is 2 draw calls. In Tetra 3D, or in this, all of the trees are merged together. But a tree is composed of multiple draw calls. Let me see. Because the leaves are... The tree is one draw call. The shadow underneath is a different draw call. Is it not there? It's its own... Oh, well then we can cut this out. And then the leaves are their own draw calls. We'll save that. But yeah, if we could not have depth rendering, then that would be probably for the best because it's slow. Yeah, that would probably speed things up considerably. And it might not, if we do it right, it might not even look that much different because we're not intersecting. Like in situations like this would be kind of problematic because let me think. From this angle, the wall needs to draw behind the clock. So like we would need to break it up into pieces like this if we were to turn off depth intersection. Like this needs to be a piece, this needs to be a piece, this needs to be a piece, this needs to be a piece. So that these draw below the clock and the clock can draw in front of the walls. So I'm not sure if I want to do that. It might also be good to just like fake it because we could turn off depth testing and then just make it so that the elements, like the walls and stuff, always draw behind the objects. So like, yeah, that might work. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. I have to think about it. Depth testing is so useful because with depth testing, it doesn't matter the order that you're drawing objects in because you're always rendering things. You know, things are always going to obscure other things according to the depth texture. You don't need it to be accurate. You don't need to order you don't need to really draw solid objects in a specific order. So it's an interesting problem. Let's go back to the street scene. I want to see something real quick. Oh, this is the wrong thing. Okay, so we're getting 130 FPS roughly. So if we go ahead and, I think we did this before, but I want to see it one more time. Where the camera at? Yeah. We turn off depth rendering, this should run faster. Drastically faster, even if it's inaccurate. But for some reason, it's running even slower. 105 FPS. It should be like easily 200 because we're not rendering nearly as much. So let's see here. Let's see, sort time. I don't think sorting should be that slow. Four milliseconds? Oh, okay, that does make sense. This is gonna be really slow. Okay, let me think. Because this has to get the transform. Well, that's fine, but then getting the third row, that's a little slow. We have to get, oh, we're getting it multiple times. Yeah, that's slow. You can get rid of the composite on the tree. Don't use alpha. Use a few triangles to cut off the edges instead. That's true. That is true. That would be faster. That would be a lot faster. That'd be a lot better. That's a good idea. See, this is the kind of stuff that you have to do when you're working with a software renderer that you don't have to think about if you're working with like a modern renderer, where it's like, how can you shave off, literally shave off a few milliseconds? So this is, I was wondering why this is slow. It's because we're calling world position all the time. When sorting, that's going to be slow. So we want to store the positions of the objects, the models, if at all possible. So I guess we can do it this way. Something like this. And then we can say positions, doesn't really matter, position, whether it's transparent or not, positions MP, or model rather. We can push this out, equals model.world position. And then we can just say positions, something like this. So now it should be a little bit faster. Oh, this is, yeah. Let's see what the time is now. So it was 3 or 4 milliseconds. Now it is 3 milliseconds. Let's do it even better. We don't need to do this constantly. We only need to do world to screen basically once for each of these things. And then, yeah, so let's do it like this. Okay. Sorting. Depths. Load 64. Sorting. Okay, so if sorting depths model equals this model.world position, and then we could just say depths solids dot or I dot model is greater than solids j dot model. That should be better. If it's faster, then I can see investing the time to make it better. That's more like it, in the order of picoseconds. I was wondering what the heck was going on. All right, so this is like picoseconds or microseconds. I don't remember which is which. Is it picoseconds? Picoseconds, microseconds. Where's the time unit measurement? Here we go. It's a microsecond. Millisecond is ms, microsecond is u, or picos, nanosecond, the picosecond. Okay, that makes right. So Excuse me, microsecond. Okay, microsecond. So if we're dealing with microseconds now, that should be a lot faster. 133, 154. Okay, that's better. That's better. 163, 155. So there's potential here. There's a reason why you might 181. Yeah, this is good. All right. So in comparison, we might be able to cut down like half of the frame time and not really lose too much. We just have to change how we're designing, how we're drawing and doing stuff with the world. Yeah, since it's an option, like, you know, you can choose not to, and also that actually reminds me, hold on, because transparency is also, yeah, we don't want to do this anymore. There we go. Let's try this. Yeah. So, yeah, it's better. Excellent. So this is even better. So yeah, we might end up just going with this, and then fixing the rendering. I'm not sure what is rendering here. You can see there's objects here. Like there's something. Like it's the texture from the character or something. There's something weird going on. It might be lighting. I'm not sure what the problem is. Why he looks so weird. Let's see. Let's just say lighting is false for now. Whoops. Or wait. Okay, without lighting, easily 200 FPS, which is great. But yeah, without lighting, wonder why the oh, maybe I'm. Hold on. Oh, yeah, this needs to be set regardless. If you're not rendering depth, then we can do this. We don't need depth. We can just set the RGBA channels. Well, I'll leave that there. We'll just do the UV values. I always forget. There we go. All right. Better. Lighting. Turn lighting back on. Okay, cool. So, as you can see, there's some visual glitches here. But the upside is that it should be possible to get this to actually be, like, popping. It might be that it's rendering things in the opposite order that it should be, actually. Yeah, it seems like it's just straight up not rendering things in the proper order. So this will have to be broken up into two different pieces. Hmm. Okay. I'm wondering if it would be better. Ooh, maybe I could do that. Like the potential here is phenomenal. Oh, but there's no fog. There's no fog anymore. We could probably do it with through other means. Yeah, without depth testing, like assuming we get it working, you just get FPS gains. So it might be good to just try it and try to make it work. The rendering order is jank, but we're close. We're closer. We're closer to just having like a straight up faster scene. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, I think the order that we're rendering solids in is incorrect. So let's go ahead and see. I think it might be this. Let's see. Yeah, it's not rendering in the right order. The player is never obscured by objects. VDG says, wait, what happened since last time? 200 plus FPS. You probably already explained it, so you can keep it as short as possible. I'm just interested. I turned off the depth testing. Depth testing works, but the problem with it is that it requires that we do a lot of extra stuff that's bad. I mean, basically, that's the problem, is when you render something, and honestly, maybe we don't even need... No, I think that's the only way to do it. The way that depth testing works, let me break out a sprite. You know, it's a good stream if I'm breaking out a sprite to mock up what's the problem. But basically, the way that... I'll show how depth testing works, and then we'll go from there. Okay. So the way that depth testing works is you have an object, right? Or yeah, the way that you draw things with depth is you have an object. This is A. You have another object that's B, right? You're drawing A and then B, and it's like, well, how do you draw what's in front? Well, there's two ways to do it, or yeah, I guess there's multiple ways to do it theoretically, but you know, the ways that you probably would do it is either you would check to see the center position to draw them in order going from the camera. So this draws first, and then this draws second, so you get this result. What? A sprite? Alright, that was weird. So you get this result here where 2 draws in front of 1. Like that. Or the alternative is to draw either one, this one, for example, first, and that one second, or this one first and that one second. It doesn't matter, because with the depth texture, you can draw it so that this draws first, and because this draws first, its depth, the depth value of these pixels are higher than this one. So when this draws, when you composite this result, well, so all right, so when you, so this is the first approach where you basically sort it. In this approach, you draw each object to a buffer, like this. So this is the triangle, this is the sphere, and then basically you color each buffer according to the depth. So for example, this sphere is a light gray, this triangle is a dark gray, or I guess it would be opposite. This is a dark gray, this is a light gray, indicating it's further apart, so that when you composite them together, it gets cut out, right? The triangle says, oh, there's something darker, there's something closer in front, so I'm going to cut off this area. And that's how the depth buffer works, is it uses a shader. That's slow, because for each object we render, we have to render the object to a depth buffer, like intermediate buffer, and then draw that to the finished depth texture, while reading the depth texture to see, like, you know, if there's something previously there. That's just very slow. Like z-index, but with color values, kind of like that, yeah. But it's per vertex. So that allows you to have a little bit more control, or a little bit more definition in terms of when something is in front of something else, because, you know, you could have a triangle or a three-dimensional shape where the front vertex is further, you know, it's closer to the camera than the back vertices. So by using vertex colors, we can, you know, have some depth. That works, but the problem comes in because this, you know, is kind of a complicated multi-step process for depth. I'm not sure if there's an alternative. I guess I hadn't really considered. That's something I came up with. This is something I came up with. But maybe there's an alternative that works. Maybe we don't have to do it this way. I'll have to consider it. I don't think there's another way around it, but it's possible there is. That's a possibility that I hadn't considered. Maybe there's another way. But for now, I think just disabling the depth texture might be fine. Ideally, we would, if we're going to have a depth texture and it works and it's fast, it needs to be basically one pass. We can't have this render to the depth texture, composite that to the finished texture, render to the color texture, composite it to the finished color texture process, because that's 4 times more calls than we really should be calling. We should be calling like 1 render, or maybe 2. Why don't I probably could render to the depth intermediate. Let me think. So we render to the depth intermediate buffer. Then we render that to the resulting color buffer. I feel like there's a way around this to make it a lot more compact and simple, but I'm not sure what it is just yet. Like this concept is bananas because it's so thick. It's such a thick, heavy concept. I have to compact this to make it simpler. It might be possible later, because part of the problem is a texture. If you pass a uniform to a draw triangle shader call, like a texture or something like that, if you pass a uniform texture, any textures you pass have to be the same size. So I can't pass, for example, the depth texture and the texture to use to texture a mesh to the same draw triangles shader call. That's why I had to use multiple. I have to use this compositing system because I can't render the triangles to the depth texture and then render the triangles to the color texture by passing in the depth texture and the object's actual texture. So this is something that I'll have to consider. I'll have to rework this, ideally, to just run faster. But it's possible if we could pass textures of multiple sizes. Okay, so enough of that. What we're gonna do, we're going to, yeah, I guess what we're gonna do, yeah, render depth. I'm gonna try something here. I'm gonna try this real quick. I want to see if we can add fog through vertex colors. I don't think so, but we'll see. All right, maybe we can. Maybe we can. All right. So the vertex colors get pushed on top of the... So this is purely additive. Okay, let's see. This is purely additive. This is purely additive. All right, oh, maybe I can. Ooh. All right. Here's what we're gonna try. Here's what we're gonna try. Here's what we're gonna try. This is all right. Hold on. Let's see. Okay. Far, near. Okay, far, near, and all that stuff can be set like way out here. Fps Pazarino, sup? Hello, welcome to the stream. I'm enthralled in something. I don't think I can do this one overwrite. Yeah. All right, this might work. Let's see if it works. I think I have it set to overwrite. Yeah, I think I do. Let me see. Okay. All right. This is not what we want, but this does show that it's working. All right, yeah. So, yeah, okay. So we want it to be the other way. Let's see, 0 to 1. 1 minus depth would be 1 to 0. Yeah. Oh. So the fog gets heavier as it goes on. Like that. I see. Interesting, interesting. Okay, so then fog add. Okay. All right, all right. Okay, so hold on. We want the depth to be not just 1 minus depth, but also scene.fog range 0 and scene.fog range 1. So the difference, hold on. I think that should be it. Also, I forgot to make the text larger. Sorry about that. Hmm? Oh, there's no depth. There's no depth anymore. Let's see. Okay. Hold on. Let me get some tissue. Okay, I'm back. There we go. All right, so there's a couple problems still with ordering and stuff, but overall, I think this is a pretty good start. So what we're gonna do? Let's see. I guess we can just... Yeah, I guess we do want this. Okay, there we go. So then we can go back over here. Camera depth is false. All right. So that should work, so we can see exactly how much of a difference it would be. 100 FPS. I don't know if it actually did anything. Let's see. Camera depth was false. Let's see. Camera. Yeah, this is still set to true. Camera depth is false. Low GLTF options. Low GLTF data. Options. Camera depth. Camera depth. Does cloning clone dot render depth and camera dot render depth? Weird. FPS improvement because of multi-threading or changes to the render code. The FPS improvement is twofold. One is because we merged stuff together. So these fences are merged together. These trees are merged together. These trees also are merged together, these fences. So basically by merging things together, we're limiting the amount of times it has to like composite and stuff, which is good. But then even more so, it's like double the FPS to not have a depth texture, which is why you're seeing like rendering issues like this, where things are drawing out of order, and that's something we need to resolve. Yeah. But once we get it resolved, it'll be 200 FPS. It's basically, that's the way it's looking, which is great. That's fantastic. Let's see. So... Okay, so that's false. It's true. Why is it true now? Why is render depth not being set to false? Okay. Okay. There we go. Still true. This is weird. Why is it ever set to true? From our scene, or from our asset loading process. Load asset. Load GLTF. So when we're loading an asset, metadata.read file. Okay, that might be why. Oh, that's why. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. That's actually a big problem. Why did I do it like that? Also, this needs to be up here. Oh, that's why. I see. Yeah, let's try this. Okay, false. False. Okay, so rendering depth is off. Right? Yeah. Why is it still so low? 100 FPS? That's it? 100 FPS. I mean, that's not bad. That's not that bad, but like, I definitely should be able to do more than that. Especially without a depth buffer. I'm getting like 200 from here. Or at least I was. Let's see. $137? Let's see. Oh, is it? Maybe it's because I was printing stuff out. Let's see. That's better. Okay, 150 is not bad. Yeah. All right, this is better. It's not perfect, but it's better. Getting a couple hundred FPS is pretty good. Obviously, there's some rendering issues that we still need to resolve, but if we do resolve them, the result should be pretty good. All right, so there's a couple things we can do here. One is we need to resolve why things are drawing out of order. Mesh combine instance, kind of like, yeah, kind of like we're combining stuff together. The fog also, I'm not sure if we can really use that. I have to think a little bit more about that. About how fog is going to work. Or rather, this one. For now, let's fix this ordering issue. So I guess the problem is, we can close this or get rid of that. I guess the problem with this is that when we go to print or to sort things, we probably should sort by the mesh part. And it might be good to have a center associated with the mesh part. We can save, that's fine. Let's go to humans. Well, even if there was no center associated with the mesh part. Well, yeah. Well, yeah, even if there was no cinder associated with the mesh part, it should still be able to draw in the right order. So why is it not drawing in the right order? Because we're sorting triangles by depth. Depth being determined. Wait. Okay, let's try to just like do something like that. Okay, that's better, yeah. I split their limbs up so that they would have individual draw calls, but I guess that wasn't necessary. There's still some issues. This is in front of both of them, that's right. But why is this? Like, these are definitely closer. Why is it? This is an interesting, like, I'm not sure if this is, if I'm going to stick with any of this, but assuming I do get it to work, it should be better. Let's see. Sorting. Let's try that. I swear the depth is not, like, here. It's not popping. Let's see. Dude, it's empty. What? If sorting is greater length, solids is greater than 0. Is sorting not true? Solids is greater than 0, isn't it? Sorting is false. What? Okay, length solids. And not, wait, camera dot render depth is false. I'm guessing true here is for the GUI, which is fine. I don't care about that so much. So why is depth empty? If sorting depths model depth length solid is greater than 0. It is. And not camera dot render depth. It's not. So why is sorting false? Am I insane? Because I wish I had the same, like, this terminal in this window. But like, yeah, as far as hold on. So yeah. Okay, sorting is false. The length of solids is greater than 0. That's true. Right? These are all greater than 0. Also, why is this happening multiple times? What? Am I going insane? What's going on? Why? What? Why is that? What? Hold on. We're gonna debug this because I'm wondering, is this rendering multiple times? Yeah, I know this works. Come on. I have DLV. Do I not have DLV? Maybe I don't have Delve. Did I just not have it installed? I guess I didn't. Do I not? Okay, well, we'll see. I'm wondering, let's see, is it rendering the camera for the inventory stuff all the time? It should not be, but according to this, it's all, like, these are the paths to the, these are the paths to the, things being rendered. Like, this is, is rendering the scene 3 times? Shouldn't it be alternating? Like, why is it rendering 4 times? Am I crazy? Did it finish downloading? All right, let's see. Did it finish? Brat. All right, let me try restarting. Well, I guess that's not really that necessary right now. I can try restarting in a couple seconds, but it definitely seems like it's rendering the scene multiple times, and I'm not sure that, like, if it is, that would explain why it's running so slowly, which is, because that would also explain why the numbers weren't adding up. Like, I'm looking at it like, okay, it's rendering, you know, it's taking like 4 or 5 milliseconds, and then it's running at like 40 FPS, and it's like, where's the time going? Is it rendering multiple times? Oh, well, I guess that actually might be happening because we turned off the FPS mode, so it's it draws multiple times. Yes, okay, that's what's going on. There we go. Now it's alternating. Okay, although not all the time. Okay, well that's... Maybe we should draw an update? Like, maybe rendering the nodes should happen at the end of update instead? Because that way it doesn't draw multiple times per frame. Oh my gosh. Was that the issue this entire time? That might have, I don't think that was the issue the entire time, but that might be part of the issue the entire time. Okay, let's go back to render depth. This is still good to have this here, but I'm wondering if the issue was that it was rendering the scene multiple times, because it's like it draws, right? Like the update is update function in Ableton happens like once every 60, you know, 1/60th of a second or whatever, but draw might happen as often as possible. So it's rendering the scene as often as possible, even though we only need to present the scene as often as possible. So that's why we're looking at the numbers, and it's like maybe, you know, 4 or 5 milliseconds to render the scene, but then we're getting like 40 FPS sometimes with the depth rendering on. And I'm just like, okay, well, I guess it's just slow. But while it is slow, that might not be the issue. We will see in just a couple seconds. I have this stupidly designed. That makes sense. That might be the issue. I just have to... Where is... Is it in assets? Where do I call this? Here, okay. But also here in main, okay. So I think that might be the issue. Alright, so here we are back with depth rendering on. Now we're getting a consistent 60 FPS, 75 FPS. Better. Well, we were getting a consistent 75 FPS before. Let's also unhinge. Where's main? This is main. Let's also unhinge the FPS mode. So now we're getting 400 FPS. And it drops to 195. I'm satisfied with that. That's perfectly fine, because this is kind of a deep sea. That makes more sense. Okay, all right. I was like, why is it running so slowly? That makes more sense. That makes more sense. So we will still leave this sorting code in here. We can also take out that printing stuff out. That also was probably slowing things down actually considerably. Yeah, this is far better. This is far better. Like, why is it so slow? Am I really drawing that many triangles? I'm not. I'm not drawing that many triangles. This is 500 FPS, dude. This is 500 FPS. Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh, wow, dude. What a kick in the teeth. I mean, it's not really a kick in the teeth, but like to go from like this is, I was like, man, this is so slow. Is it that slow? I guess it's that slow. Man, I wish it were faster. I can't believe I'm, you know, it's just slow, I guess. That's just the way it is. Oh well. And it's like, dude, it's just because you have your scene rendering code in draw. So it's just going to like spam as hard as it can. Like if it renders the scene, because update, does update happen? Let me see. Hold on, I'm interested. And this is plus equal delta. Delta is 1. I thought something seemed odd. Yeah, let me see something. This is gonna be 1,000. Okay, that's. Is it? Hold on. I guess that's no. Is this running? I think this is running. Well, that does explain the issue. Okay, all right, yeah. I guess the core problem, and this actually isn't running at 500 FPS now that I think about it. I think it's still slow, actually. This would be better. Yeah, and this is more so what we're... Yeah, this is weird. Okay, so it's not actually 400 FPS or whatever. This is interesting, dude. This is very interesting. We don't need to print this anymore. Yeah, this is very interesting. The FPS is slow. So the thing that I'm finding out, or I think the thing I'm finding is, and I'm not sure if this can even hit 120 FPS actually. It can hit 70. This is interesting. Now it drops to 23, 25. That's interesting, because if this is off, now we're hitting 75. We talk here. Now we're hitting 75. Yeah, this is interesting. This is something I both do and do not like about Epiton. Because on the one hand, I like that it's kind of like it will kind of do what it does, and you don't have to think about timing that much. There is no FPS. You have ticks per second, which is basically, I think, how often update gets called per second. And then the FPS, the render FPS, how many times the screen is updated. By default, the render FPS is like set to the VSync, whereas the TPS, ticks per second, is set to 60. So you have this kind of like dual system where like update and drawing are kind of unlinked. And so you don't really have to worry about the FPS. You don't really have to worry about frame rate, because the engine like code is 60 FPS. That's where you update things, that's where you move stuff around, all that stuff. And then draw is just where you render things, and that gets called kind of at Epiton's discretion. I like that system because it's kind of like, it kind of will handle the time step. But the flip side is that it's easy to kind of like it's harder to kind of understand what Epiton is doing, because if I set the FPS mode, and now my energy has dropped back, because if I set the FPS mode so that the VSync is off and I'm just drawing it as often as possible, it's not actually rendering the scene at 400 FPS. It's rendering the scene at 60 FPS and just drawing it to the screen at 400 FPS. The game still runs at 60 FPS. It's just updating the screen 400 times per second. Those are, that's not the same. We want it to render at 400 FPS, not just render the scene on frame 1 and then draw it to the screen with no changes to the scene for the next 5 frames and just like reapply the image. And that's what's happening. So I think moving it to the update function is the right thing to do, because now it's more stable in terms of frame time, but also it's more stable in terms of frame time, and also it's consistent. We're still hitting 75 FPS. But if we set the max tick rate to be 120, for example, we're not going to be able to hit that, despite the fact that we were hitting a much higher frame rate before. Interestingly, we're not hitting 75 FPS. Oh, because it's still locked to VSync. FPS mode, VSync off minimum? VSync off maximum? Are we able to hit 120 with VSync off? Yes. Okay, well then maybe no. I don't know. Abington, this is a little wonky. This is a little wonky. We're hitting 25 FPS when we try to render at 120 FPS. But if we try to, and only when we're looking through the camera that we were looking through, but if we don't try to render at any exceptional frame rate, then we're easily able to hit 60 FPS all of the time. It's weird. Okay, I'm going to say that it's not an issue with my code. The issue is with trying to render stuff in draw. You don't want to render stuff in draw. You want to render stuff in update. That's the takeaway. So that's fine, I guess. I mean, if it gives us a nice solid frame rate, I guess it doesn't really matter. It's just, things you learn while you're, I mean, this is, and I guess this is to be expected. What we're doing here, what I'm doing here is unusual. It is unusual. It is not normal. It is odd. This is a hybrid renderer. This is perhaps one of the only hybrid renderers on the planet, as far as I know. I've never played a game. Most games are made with Unity or Unreal or Godot or whatever, or OpenGL or whatever. So this engine, this framework, it might be one of only a few in human history. All right, that might be going a little too far, but this might be one of only a few rendering frameworks that works the way it does. So it's to be expected that in the process of using it, I'm going to be finding things out that I've never expected to find out. All right. So what we'll do, we will, do I have the Tetra 3D wiki here? I do. What we'll do, I'll make an article on the Tetra 3D wiki that logs my thoughts here. Rendering flow.md. So this will be where we type this up. Tetra 3D renders through Abington, meaning that if you want to your objects to the screen, you will do so by applying Yeah, I guess that makes sense now that I think about it. Because even if you put it in the draw function, you won't get anything out of it. Because you're updating everything in your update function. So if you then put all of your if you render the scene multiple times, or render the scene in the render function, or in the draw function, you don't get anything because the scene isn't changing from update to update. You're updating, then you're rendering, or draw, update, draw, update, draw. Right? So when you update, your object moves and then you're rendering it 4 times. So there's no real need to do that. You're just calling render multiple times, and it's harder to see if you're losing frame time. That's what's going on. Okay. Snowbear says, I think people, and I'm sorry, I saw the chat earlier, but I'm both mind flooded and the floods are receding. The water is being drained from my mind palace. I am able to properly comprehend what's going on. Snowbazera says, I think people were arguing about this today in the Ebiton Discord. Draw versus update. Carl Otto says, I render and draw, but I'm using VSync. I think VSync off minimum will prevent it from redrawing if the frame did not change. If not, you can make a frame dirty wool and do it that way. Yeah, there's a couple. You might have to understand. I think that this is a key part of Ebiton that maybe needs to be documented a little bit. I'm not sure. It might be documented. Let me take a look at it. It might be documented somewhere because it's a little bit different from most frameworks. Most frameworks either don't have something for frame time, or maybe they allow you to set up just a hard FPS. If as Pazarino says, am I lost in the sauce yet? No, I am actually dipping several fried foods into the sauce and consuming them. I am perhaps pogging out of, well, I wouldn't say pogging out of my gourd, but I'm pogging a little bit. I'm pogging. We're happy. I'm not lost in the sauce. I'm actually placing signs for those who are lost in the sauce, Dark Souls style. I am placing memories for people to find. But let's take a look here. This is very interesting, and this is a good subject for a stream, to see exactly where and if not called when the window was focused. Every frame, yeah. So this is kind of it, but I feel like there needs to be like a full article on this, because this is not quite like, it's not that it's not quite what it does or how it works. So no. See go. Okay. It's not quite performance tips. What is screen source? Graphics getting started. Okay, so I think that there definitely could be an article talking about how update, what update and draw those functions do when they're called, and what you should put in those things. If you're keeping it locked to VSync, then you're probably fine. You're probably, there's probably no issues if you're keeping it locked to VSync. If you're not doing anything out of the ordinary with those functions, you're probably good. But I think it's good to kind of talk about it, because a normal framework does not probably have this concept of ticks versus, frames, or like rendering in a draw call versus calling an update. When those are called, usually a framework either kind of leaves it to you and for timing, or will call a single function maybe at a certain frame rate. Like it might have a set FPS or something like that, and then you just do all of your draw stuff after your update stuff, or something similar. But Ebiton has this like disjointed system. So I feel like an article would be really good for this, because it's easy to kind of be like, well, I'll put all of my rendering stuff in draw. And it's like, okay, you can do that. But if you do that, one, this is a bad idea for two reasons. One is, if Ebiton decides to render things multiple times, then you're going to be wasting time, because you're going to be rendering something twice. You're going to be rendering your entire scene twice, when it might not be necessary. And then secondly, if the frame rate drops below VSync level, or drops below the ideal frame rate and VSync is on, then it's going to have your frame rate, and you won't see why. You'll go from 75 FPS to 42.5 FPS, and you're like, why does it feel so weird? And it's because it went from 75, if that's your hertz, your refresh rate, going from 75 to 73 is now catastrophic, or going from 60 to 59 is now catastrophic because of VSync. So it's really an interesting thing that I feel like deserves an article. And I guess I'll kind of talk about it here in Tetra 3D because I found it here. But yeah, it definitely feels like something that would be good to kind of talk about and get some feedback on and information on, because it feels like I was, my game was running slow, and I'm like, I don't get why. Like, it's not even that complicated of a scene. Is the frame rate just that bad, or is it just taking that long? It's not. There's nothing really wrong with the approach that I'm taking, or at the very least, it's my, most modern graphics cards are fine with this approach, and we will. I guess this is fine. We'll leave it like this. What are the things I changed here? So sorting, that's fine. We still want that. That's fine. We really could. Yeah, that's fine. If not rendering depth, then we want to do this. That's fine. Depth, that's fine. Yeah. Okay. This can be nil here. Yeah. So let's see. It's easy to kind of not know how this works, I guess you could say. Meaning that if you want to render your objects to the screen, you will do so by drawing the outputted cameras. The downside of rendering an update is you can end up drawing, but it may never make it to the screen. That's true. I guess if the update... Well, I guess you mean it could be that you draw an update, and because it takes so long, the frame rate drops. Because, well, the way that... And it might be that it's just... This is specifically to Tetra 3D in a sense. But the way that rendering works is you render... to a camera's color texture, its buffer, and then you draw the buffer to the screen. So drawing the buffer to the screen can happen in draw. I guess I see what you mean. If the tick count is higher than the frame rate, then you could draw multiple times and it not show up on screen. That's possible. That would require you setting the max TPS to be higher than your refresh rate, though, which is unusual. But I think that if you did do that, you would want to do that. Like, if you manually decided to set that, you would probably want that for maybe specific situations. Like, maybe if you were running a rhythm game where you have, for example, if you had, a rhythm game where you need it finer than 16 millisecond frame time, so you can like detect a key press in maybe 10 milliseconds or something like that, or react to a key press within 10 milliseconds, then maybe you could set the frame rate to be like 100 fps and then keep the VSync on so it still renders at 60 fps. You would miss a frame or two if you were using Tetra 3D to render stuff, but the upside is, you kind of would know that, I feel like, or at least this article will help you to know it. Screen texture. Screen texture. In doing so, some games will render at high FPS and throw away frames to reduce latency. Yeah, that's possible. A dirty flag would solve it. Don't render if draw hasn't cleared it. That also could work. Yeah. So there's a couple ways you could do it. And I like that you have that kind of you have that freedom. So if you wanted to do it, in the following ways or in the ways that you describe, you can do that. You don't have to be like, oh, the engine doesn't support it or something like that. You can basically approach it as you will. I like that about Ebi 10 or just game frameworks in general. So if you say, oh, I need something that runs and like works in this specific way, you can just, you can do that with Ebi 10. So I like that. But at the same time, it's something that you kind of have to know. I think that this is important. In the proper place in Ebi 10's. Putting a draw function might seem to be a good place initially, but by doing so, you can end up wasting frame time and making a serious issue where the debug, because it renders multiple times. Minion normally draws at 60 FPS and breaks. This being the case, if you were to print out a command indicating the function we call, you may end up with an output like this. Yeah, so this is very interesting, very interesting. Well, no, yeah, Habitat doesn't call draw multiple times to fill time. Like, it's not doing anything, so it will draw, but it can multiple times either at the maximum or minimum frame rates possible with, let's see. Desync off maximum. And it is used. Okay. All right. So yeah, the flexibility is very nice. This is very nice. So now that we know, we should be good to go. We won't really do anything here. Well, I'll leave these here just in case, but I think we're good to basically go with this approach. We probably can clear, fill, and then render the nodes and then go from there. Yeah. Oh, it's set to, I was wondering what's up with the fog. I forgot. I set the fog Yeah. So it's still low frame rates or low FPS, but I'm gonna look into it some more because I feel like it might be more of an issue. Yeah, it might be something else going on. Carl says you can make the VSync penalty a lot lower by triple buffering. That way you can still be rendering while waiting for the page to flip, but it does add a frame of latency. That's something I considered actually implementing myself. I was like, if I basically like apply the math to make the frame, like basically I can have all of the vertices and stuff, transform on like an additional buffer and then use the previous buffer to render. So I can have a thread basically operating on content and pushing it to like an old a new buffer, and then on the next frame that new buffer becomes an old buffer and that gets rendered. Something like that. Okay, so I think that we're kind of getting there. Still might be slow, but I'm not sure. Still might be slow, but I'm not sure. For now, I'm gonna leave it alone and just focus on actually making the game, because it might be that there's nothing actually wrong that would necessitate any fundamental changes in the engine. It might just be that I need to work in the update function rather than the draw function, something like that. All right, it's been almost a couple hours. I kind of feel like taking a break and ending the stream, but at the same time, I don't know, I kind of want to keep going. Let's work on something. Let's see. Item display, item seen. Maybe I should make a thing for this, like a menu. How would that even look? annoyed. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. World to screen. Text position. Alright, something like that should kind of get us there. All right. Okay, so something like this should kind of get us there. So then this is a menu, and this is also a menu. Both of these are menus. I guess it doesn't have to be a... There is no, there is, okay. We want this to be the same. This. Okay. This would be easier if I could place text directly in here, but I cannot. Yeah, this is important because I will need an options menu. I was thinking, like, why am I doing this just for a use menu, but I'm going to need an options menu too. GUI stuff. I'm thinking. Let's see. Okay. So, yeah, we can just say new menu. Right. Top model. Well, position about that. Yeah. Okay. All right, wait, hold on. So let's try this first. So top. Uh, draw text. Cool. Okay, so it is working a little bit. Let's see. So we have a title. Title is not equal to blank. Text position equals camera dot world world to screen top. Where's top 1.6. 3.4. What? Oh, that's the position. I see. Should be like right up here. Oh, okay, I see. So that's, yeah, height. Alright, that's right. But height is 0? Height is... Oh, height is Z. Oh, yeah, you're right. .4. That is correct. Yeah, all right, we're good. So it's going to be this, but we add menu.dimensions. All right, something like that, I think. Nope. I'm hungry. All right, so let's do that. Make it a little bit easier for us. All right, so this says it should be 0.8 on X. Yeah. And then 0.4 on the Z-axis or the Y-axis. I should have just done this so that the axes were exactly the same instead of switching them around, so it's maximally confusing for me. Because now Y here becomes Z, I believe. I don't know why I did this now that I think about it. Like that works, inventory, but we want to move it up. Oh, whoops. Actually, might have worked. It's just this is incorrect. It should be divided by 2. Almost. Minus. All right, so I don't know why I did this way now that I think about it. Hooray. Yeah, wait a second. Shouldn't it be plus? Am I insane? Shouldn't be. Minus should be plus. Strings. Oh, that maybe that's it. Let's see. Is it Z? Should we just do something like that? I don't think so. What is going on? Why did I do it like this? Why did I do it like this? Okay, that is correct. All right, so yeah, this is working. Here we go. Okay. Good. Oh, yeah, maybe we should have our own cursor for each panel. That makes sense. Okay, this is going to be a lot easier. Watch. Not like right now, but it's going to be sick. You'll see. You'll see. You'll see. It's going to be sick. You'll see. Let me change the music. Where's water? Yeah. All right. I'm renewed in spirit. There we go. Better, better. Excellent, excellent. All right, all right. Oh. Oh, this is looking a lot better. Way better. So what? Not enough arguments in string. Yeah, that's fine. So, let's see, new menu. Let's see, on sunlight. Because we won't consume them. Because we want to consume it here. We don't consume it otherwise. Okay, so let's see how this works. Yeah, okay. There's a couple issues here. One is I'm gonna do this only if menu dot in cursor. And then also there we go. There we go. There we go. So this needs to be wider. Hmm. That's all I was gonna do. Okay. Cool. All right, so we can actually do something like this. Or no, actually we can't do something like that. Ooh. Oh, interesting. Okay. Let's see. All right, that actually works pretty well. That works pretty well. Let's see. Cancel. Good, good. So GUI.system.use menu. Actually, it would be cool if we could pass the menu directly here. That's what we'll do. Menu. On select. Then we can just pass the menu directly. On select. We could just say menu. There we go. Cool, 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 cool. All right. I didn't know you could do that. It's cool. Where is the thing? All right, well. Did I not commit this? Here we go. Okay, this is what I was looking for. All right. So maybe we could have two scripts, I guess. Yeah. So this would be like an examine script, and this would be a use script. I guess we could just have it like this. All right, so then now we can do something kind of cool and make it that like can't use, no use event. So then we could just say, oh, we can't do that. We cannot do that actually. Yeah, this is fine. Okay. You know what? This is visually ugly. What if we didn't have this at all and we just had the event? Something like that. Let's see. So it's a function. It's the update function, right? Yeah, it's not just that. That is easier. There we go. All right, this is better. This is a better system, I think. Oh, wait. That. All right, something like this should kind of do it. Boo. All right, let's see. How did I, why was this? It's weird. Okay. Ah, I have these reverse. Yeah. All right. Well, that's it. Oh, this is the wrong item. Yeah. Let's see. Menu.index. Ah, that's the issue. Hmm? Examine works, but use doesn't. I can't use this here. Item index equals UI system items menu index. Item index, item index. Hmm. Oh. Oh, wait. Um. Oh, yeah, it's just, this needs to be item key. Okay. All right, well, that should do it. Yeah, that works. We're good. All right. Well, we made some progress. We made some progress. It wasn't necessarily like the most insane amount of progress, but we managed to get a lot done. A lot of like theory on what makes Ebiton work the way it does and stuff. Not sure if I'll be able to like really do much with things the way they are. I'm not sure about hold on. I'm not sure about my game, like in terms of the frame rate and the optimization. It feels optimized, but it could be just super slow. We'll see. I guess we'll just have to see. We'll have to see what happens when it kind of gets out there, and we can see if we can, have a fun little game that is a software hybrid render kind of weird thing. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun to work on it this day. And if you want to support development, please check out Master Plan on Steam and itch.io. There are links in the description, as well as my Patreon. I appreciate any support anybody can give. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And it'll be probably even more fun to work on this next time. All right, see ya.